All right. And welcome to Game Changer Weekly. My name is John Wolf. Our beloved co-host Brant will not be with us tonight. He had a quick emergency he had to take care of. Our wonderful listeners and I wanted to just send all of our best wishes to you and your family. We will be seeing B next week. So tonight, I'll be going one-on-one with our guest, GCW World Champion Blake Christian. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good.
Whew. Well, I love giving every performer an intro on our show. It's basically so new listeners can kind of get caught up with who you are, know a little bit more about you. So this sometimes goes good, this sometimes goes bad. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot that intro over. You ready, brother?
Let's get it.
All right. So here we go, listeners. Blake Christian from Tennessee, a.k.a. Trey Baxter from his WWE days. 26 years old, 7 years in ring experience. Blake's first appearance at GCW was July 21st, 2019 at Lights Out versus KTB. Since then, he's appeared for GCW a total of 158 times with a win-loss record of 124-34. Last year, he went 51-6. Blake's been the GCW World Champion for 332 days running. He beat Masha Slamovich and Rina Yamashita for the championship at Cage of Survival 2 on June 4th, 2023. He's the 11th champion in the current era with a record-setting 40 title defenses within those 332 days. Nick Gage held the previous record with 37 title defenses in 722 days. Blake busted Gage's record over 400 days quicker than Gage set it. Some of Blake's more notable GCW title defenses: Gringo Loco at Ride or Die, June 23rd, 2023. Mike Bailey at My Name Is, August 4th, 2023. Jordan Oliver at World on GCW from Hurricane Hall, October 12th, 2023. Joey Janela at Joey Janela's Spring Break 8, April 5th, 2024. And lastly, any match with Masha Slamovich can go on that list. Some other notable opponents in GCW and across the industry: Kushida, Hiromu Takahashi, Will Ospreay, Alex Zane, Speedball Mike Bailey, John Gresham, Minoru Suzuki, John Moxley, Zack Sabre Jr., Vikingo, Gringo Loco, and Leo Rush. One match that I recommend to the listeners: Zane and Janela versus Christian and Depp in PWG Bola 2019 Night 1. Blake is the only person to work ROH, GCW, Impact, and New Japan all in one day. He's also appeared for the WWE and NXT, AEW, and plenty of your favorite independents. He was in the first match of the new Ring of Honor versus Colt Cabana at Ring of Honor Super Card of Honor 2022. He's participated in 14 tournaments in his career and made the semifinals in 10 of those. His PWI 500 ranking this year was 67. Ladies and gentlemen, he sits at the head of the independent wrestling table holding maple syrup. Air Blake, all heart, all heat, Blake Christian. Thank you so much for being with us and taking that 2-minute break to hear me go through that, brother.
Oh, yeah, that was really good. To be honest with you, I actually have no idea where the maple syrup came from.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. Somebody said it. I saw it on a bunch of sites. I'm like, okay, this has to be a joke. And then
I've never heard anyone say it to me. I've never heard it. The first time I saw it was on Cage Match, and that's every now and then someone will ask me. I don't know what maple syrup is.
Oh, dude, it's the internet. Someone says something stupid, someone repeats it, and now it's a trend. So, you know. So let's just go ahead with the basic then. Where did you start all this from? So what companies did you grow up watching?
So, I mean, you grew up watching the one when you first start. Normally, it's like WWE, right? You see it on TV. You're passing through the channels. That was me. Back when they still had the fist as their
yeah.
And from there, man, I just kind of watched everything. I found out TNA was on TV, so I would watch it on Spike. And pretty much, and then Memphis Wrestling on Saturdays, I discovered that was on TV. So, I mean, I would set my DVR to record all that. So, man, I just grew up watching all the TV stuff. And then once I got a smartphone and I was able to watch like Ring of Honor and like old indies, I was doing that as well. So, man, I grew up watching pretty much all of it, really.
Yeah, you were an X Division guy, I guarantee it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I mean, I'll just kind of go through because we know we only have so much time here. You'd mentioned inspirations as Will Ospreay, Ricochet, AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels. You're also a fan of NJPW and the Super Juniors. Do you have any moves named after or inspired by any of those wrestlers?
I think really the biggest one is the Fallsbury flop that I do to the outside where I do the catch. I really like, so the story behind this is when I was coming back from the pandemic, I felt like I needed something to like get the internet talking again. And that moves I did with Myron Reed for the first time specifically was like the first time like anybody had ever seen, it's the first time I've ever done it. And it really blew up, but it was inspired by AJ Styles because he does the backflip catch DDT.
Yeah.
So it was really inspired. And I actually tested the night before I wrestled at IWA, and I did the Fallsbury flop, and I was just testing out to see if I could land that and catch that. And I was like, okay, I'm busting this out tomorrow for sure.
Wow. Yeah, there's a point right before you hit that rotation where you're on your back area there. It looks like you're floating. And I think that's what made it look so damn cool is nobody had seen a man in that position have a float just for a split second. And you did it so damn well. And yeah, it's now part of your repertoire there. I was wondering where the heck that really came from initially, because I actually had to look up the history on the Fosbury flop. So I initially thought maybe you did some track and field or something and you just pulled it from there.
No. The Fosbury flop dive's been around forever, but I think I'm the first person to ever do that to where it's like the flip and the catch. So I recently called it the Blake Christian dive because I'm the only one that does it. So
yeah. Oh, well, take it where you can, man. How did you find GCW or GCW found you? Because it was early in your career, like one of the first 20 matches or so professionally.
I think 50? I had a bunch more. They found me like my second year, like mid-second year.
Oh, wow, my bad.
No, you're good. I knew about GCW, but I posted a highlight video on Twitter, and Marco Stunt had shared it, and I guess Brett had seen it. And so Marco hits me up. He's like, hey, man, they want to book you for GCW in Nashville. And I was like, 100%. So, and then Brett reached out. He's like, hey, excited to have you on. And then from there, man, it's just history.
It seems like Brett saw a lot in you from the beginning. Is that one of those things, or did you have to slowly win him over time to get that trust that you two kind of have now?
Man, I don't know. Like, I think Brett liked me from the beginning. Because, I mean, he was throwing me with, like, KTB, Deppin, and then me and Zane known each other forever. And I believe that was my third match, I think, with GCW. But I guess over time I did have to earn like where I am now. That's with everybody though.
Yes.
But I think he liked me from the get-go, so I think it just kind of grew organically.
All right. So this is one that I've never had a chance to ask another wrestler yet, but I know you're a reaction person. You get some incredible reactions from the fans. Do you feel there's a difference between the Northern GCW crowd, the Southern GCW crowd, and I'm going to throw it in there, the AC on the East and the LA on the West? Do you feel there's a difference here and there? Who works best with you of those four? Maybe that's the best way to go, because that's a deep question.
I think they're all the same. All of them give me like the same reactions, the same heat.
Oh, wow.
I think there's more people that kind of cheer me in the Midwest area, LA too. There's more people up there as well. I think AC just full blown always. There's like one or two or three people in the crowd that are like getting the heat for cheering for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they all treat me the same. I think AC's more hostile, which is fine.
Yeah.
Um, and then LA gets a little wild every now and then. But yeah, I think the Midwest area, people are more like, oh, look, this guy does cool shit. I'm gonna cheer for that, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas like LA and AC, they boo either way.
Because for me, I felt like when I'm watching the show, kayfabe is still kind of alive in the South.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I just wondered if that kind of made the fans feel a little different in Atlanta, or when you're going to Alabama at New
To be
South.
honest
I
with
didn't
you,
know.
Atlanta, they love me for some reason, you know. And like they'll boo me and this that yada yada. But when all this was actually going down and I was starting this heel turn,
Hmm.
and people were booing me and stuff like that, Atlanta was just right there with me the whole time, you know. Like they're cheering for me, all heart, all heart. So yeah, for Atlanta, for some reason, I just can't get those guys to hate me.
Wow, how incredible! So then, all right, what venue does feed you the most booze?
Definitely the showboat.
Yeah. Okay. As a teacher, let's just say you're bringing in a trainee to GCW, which would not happen. I mean, maybe Zilla's still trying to do his thing there, but you're bringing in a trainee. Where would you break him at? Would you break him in LA, AC? Would you take him down south where it's a little more welcoming? What would you do with the guy?
You know, man, I don't know. I think, hmm, yeah,
I
I'm
know
not
it's
sure.
it's 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 a
Yeah,
rough question. I know.
I'm not sure about that one. You know, I think as a wrestler, I just say get in where you fit in. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
if Brett says you're in the scramble, get your ass in the scramble. You know.
Right. Well, it's like starting Murdoch off in the Northeast. It just wouldn't be the same. Dude's got to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
down and cut his teeth down south. So,
yeah, yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah, I think like if you're an up and comer and you're like Braden Toon, for example, he's like he started over here when we were coming like southwise, but he now goes to like LA. You'll see him pop up in LA, and you'll see him
yeah,
pop up in AC, and then other places as well. Even Mexico, I think he was there. So I think it's just get in where you fit in.
yeah, he's not super south when it comes to his look too, so he can fit in better on the West Coast, on the East Coast without, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so you were in chat with us before. I believe it was at least you there, and
Yeah.
you mentioned you were a cheerleader through high school, and then into college you had a cheerleading scholarship. I try to stress even to my son how important one of those scholarships are. Like there aren't a lot of people trying to grab them, and you need to be a real athlete because people's necks are on the line literally up there. So I know it's helped you. That's a dummy question, but I mean, let's talk a little bit about that and how it has helped you at all. I mean, I'm guessing, geez, that's another deep question that I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I don't know where to start, but I know that it really shaped a lot of what you've done, and you made that, a good 80% of your offense there.
yeah. So like when I started like my high school life, I was like a baseball player, but I had hurt my arm like real bad, and when I came back, my arm like I wasn't the same player. So I eventually like left all that behind, and then I really didn't do anything up until my senior year. Our
Mm,
cheerleading team decided that we got a new coach, and they decided like, oh, let's do co-ed, and then it was like a group of us that actually went in and did it. Um, I might have been the only one to get the scholarship for it. I think the other guys just kind of let it go or whatever, it was something to do. Um, but yeah, man, I stuck with it. I've always been a flippy guy. I've always done flips in my backyards, in my bed when I was little, trampoline, all that. So yeah, man, I just really dove into that my senior year of high school. I got a job at a cheer gym to where I could teach tumbling and also teach myself to do that as well.
mm,
And then yeah, once I graduated, I received a call to go to Bethel University, which is it's a college up here close to me. It's like an hour or two away. They gave me a good scholarship. It was my freshman year, so I was all about it. And then ultimately, I decided to be a pro wrestler in between that time. So I eventually got out of it. But yeah, man, it's like being a cheerleader. It's like for males, it's like it's not a big field that most people go into. You know, people go the football route, basketball route, baseball route, hockey, this, that, yada,
mm-hmm.
yada. So there's a lot of openings for co-ed cheerleading. So, and they do pop out some money for scholarships for that. So yeah, man, I was very blessed. And also that, like, man, I was a very like scrawny kid coming from high school to college, and being a cheerleader, man, it bumped me up a little bit, and then now I am where I am today. But yeah, I was a very very scrawny kid when I was a freshman, or no, a senior in high school, and then when I became a freshman and I was doing cheerleading, we was in the gym, we was running, I was getting like, I was growing at like a very fast rate.
And then here came the confidence. And then here came all the skills with it. And then you're going, you know what, wrestling and I may be a fantastic fit. And
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, you'd have to probably say that where you're at right now is well beyond where you thought you'd be maybe as a kid with the same goal.
I've always had like, I told myself, it's like, if I work for it, I'll get there. And like, to this day, I just have not stopped working. But yeah, I think as fast as I've gotten these things and achieved these things, I'm like, okay, this is kind of wild.
That's incredible. Do you have any nagging injuries right now that are really messing with you at all?
No, man, my body was a little bit sore. I want to say like a little bit later last year. But I hit up Alex Shelley, and Alex Shelley gave me like this workout routine that really like helped me get back, help my nagging injuries, but also put on some more weight. So yeah, man, like I'm so thankful for Alex Shelley and all he's done, because that, like, my first match that I had with that routine, like 2 weeks into that routine, was with Alec Price in Hartford. Hartford was like, I was feeling like really good, and it really showed in that match. I felt when I watched it back, and so like I was like, yeah, this is like magic right here. But
Wow.
now, as of now, like I'm really good.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you doing for a routine right now? What's your, without breaking into weights and all, just what does your normal routine look like? Couple days running, couple days legs. What you look like?
Really, right now, man, I just start out with like 100 reps of whatever I'm working out with. I fatigue myself really early because it really helps with like the pump in the end and the growth and stuff like that. So I really start with just 100. Like, so if I'm doing arms, I'll do 100 biceps, 100 triceps before I even start the real workout. And then I'll do a finisher with the bands or something like that. And if it's legs, I'll do quads, hamstrings, 100 reps each. And then I'll get started with the workout. But as far as like cardio, I'll bump on the Stairmasters like one day of the week for like 15 minutes. But I do like in-ring training up here in Memphis, Tennessee, Little Memphis Championship Wrestling up here. They let me come in. I help their guys. They help me getting better because now that I get to get in the ring. So I really do my cardio there more than anything.
What you doing for protein then? Because you can't be running that machine without some fuel.
Dude, be honest with you, I just eat.
Yeah, you're just putting in calories and just burning them.
I just eat. There's a sushi place where my girlfriend lives up in Oxford. I eat that all the time, and then there's a place called Mugshots. They have like these bomb ass chicken wraps. I go through those like crazy. But yeah, man, I really just eat, if I'm being honest.
Nice. Well, when some of the wrestlers come out, I'll take them out to a couple places. There's an all-you-can-eat sushi place out here. So hit me up if you find yourself with a delay of maybe 4 hours or so on a flight. We'll go over there. We got bodybuilders and everything. They go over there and just smash sushi because that's like sushi. $30 or something, and you just go.
That's great.
Yeah, so yeah, that's something I don't get a lot of sushi lovers. It's really interesting, and you figure with so many going to Japan and whatnot that sushi is like second nature.
I do love sushi.
Yeah, you can't go to Ribera every night,
but you can.
Yeah, it depends on that pocketbook, right?
Well, I mean, not even that. You can go.
Oh man, 40 straight title defenses, longest reigning world champion ever. When did you and Brett get on the same page about your current direction right now? Do you know when that was? When did you two start boiling on this amazing 1-year project?
Man, I think because I had hit, like, when all this started happening, I was like, I want to do this. And then something came up to where I wanted to be babyface. And I was like, let's just wait till after this. And he was like, okay. But then he like hit me up towards the end of the year. He's like, all right, I got it. Blah, 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 angle. And I actually didn't know anything about the title run until very quickly to when I won it, to be honest with you. But yeah, man, Brett works. He works by himself, and then once he's ready to tell you, he busts it out on you, you know. But I think, to be honest with you, I really didn't think I would ever hold it this long. So I'm grateful for that. I think it's really helped me, my growth, my achievements, my popularity. So I mean, I'm very grateful for all that as well.
From the outside, it feels to me like you've learned a lot from this championship run personally. I mean, I'm not going to dig it, but I feel like this is one of those runs where when you walk out of it, when it's time for the next run, you know of what you want to ask more out of your next championship run. I just feel like you're smart enough to start to figure that out now.
Well, I mean, like, to be honest with you, you have to think, like, when anybody wins a title, like, when you lose it, when you eventually lose it, you have to think of, like, where do I go from there? And you have to think, like, okay, how do I keep myself not necessarily in the title loop, but in the loop? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be in the title picture, but you still want to be talked about.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to, like, figure out, like, where you're going to go. And I've definitely thought a lot about it. And I have an idea I won't dive into because I've really been drawing it up. I've really been getting all the details together. And I'm very excited to do it. And I'm going to wait. Just depend. Like, I'm still, like, figuring out, like, okay, what time should I do this? When should I start busting this out? But I think I'm definitely going to do it. It's just a matter of when. But I won't go into details on, like, what I'm going to do because I think I think it's a very, like, good story, an original story that people can, like, sink their teeth into. So I'm very excited to get into that. But I've definitely been thinking, like, what happens after?
It can be a sneak preview and you can say nothing because I don't want it to be spoiling any surprises. Are we still going with heel Blake? Or are we going back to face Blake? Or do you not want to? I really don't want to give away, brother.
Not necessarily giving it away. I think this is something that I've never done. You know, this is something that is completely unlike a character that I've done previous, that I'm doing right now, that I've done before I was ever in GCW. I've never done anything like this. So, you know, it's going to be something new for me, new for fans. And I think it's really good if I could pull it off. But yeah, it's just the little logistics that I have to, like, work into.
You've got it. There is no if. You got it.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of when. Look at it that way. You're smart enough, man. You've got this. Creatively, how much input did you have regarding this current arc right now? You said initially you had no idea really how much pie you were going to get. Basically, Brett just walked in the door with a bunch of desserts. So, you know, how much input did you have on this thing? Because it sounds like it was mostly planned.
As far as my character wise, like, I've had full reign on what I want to do. How I want to do my matches, how I want to act, how I want to come out. I've had full reign on all of that. So it's not really like, oh, Brett tells me to go act like this. Brett tells me what he wants, and then I throw my style onto it, is what it is.
Yeah, he says he wants a cheeseburger, French fries, whatnot, and then you go to the kitchen, you whoop it up.
How I want.
Good shit. Do you have any face moves right now that you're staying away from with this current Blake title run as a heel?
No. I think a big thing about me is, like, some of the stuff I do is, like, it gets heat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always gonna bust those out because in the end it's gonna get heat. If you ever notice when I do the Fosbury flop dive and I do the catch and I hit something after it, the crowd still says, "You still suck. You still suck." Because it's like, okay, that was impressive, but you still suck. You know, so I'm still going to do what I do. I think it's the attitude that I throw behind it is what really makes it heel, babyface, yada yada.
Yeah, it's who's doing the Fosbury flop. You know, it means a lot there. Yeah, that's a compliment.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, look at it that way. All right, so I'm going to play Brett for a minute. I need you to pick anybody in the GCW locker room, and you're going to close my main event. So who you got and why?
There's too many people, like
I mean, I can give you one and you can play with it, but I have some ideas. Like I figured you may pick Jordan Oliver because I know you two stretch each other out well.
Me and Jordan have known each other for so long, wrestled each other so many times. So that's always a good one. Me and Effie work together so well. So that's always a good one. Me and Zane, me and Masha, it's me and Nick Wayne, Jimmy Lloyd, I think there's a lot of people there. I can't pick one to be like, oh, this was my go-to guy, because there's so many people that I love working and being in the ring with. So yeah, there's nobody that I would be like, no. There's no go-to either.
Who are your kind of go-to buddies? Do you have one or two or three that's kind of like in your circle when you sit down backstage and just kind of take it easy? Or are you a loner kind of person?
I think GCW is just a family, man. It's like we all know each other. We're all cool with each other. We all, we travel the world together. So like, I think I think the circle is the circle, like GCW.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's no little bitty cliques here, there. There are cliques, there's cliques and everything, but GCW as a whole is just a family. So I don't just sit by one person every show.
Yeah. Any wrestlers on your radar that you haven't had a chance to wrestle yet? And it can be as open as you want to make that question. Because there's got to be a couple here. You've hit so many fantastic ones, and then you've got all this career left. So I just wondered if maybe there's one or two that you're like, damn, who have I not touched yet?
I think there's a lot of guys that like I wanted to wrestle coming up that I haven't wrestled yet. Guys like Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, guys in WWE like Ricochet, Cedric Alexander. There's a lot of guys that I grew up wanting to have a match with, and I just haven't gotten there yet. Especially like I said it like days before I got released when I was in WWE. I threw out like a dream match list, and like it was like Ricochet, AJ Styles, Cedric Alexander. So yeah, there's a bunch of people that I grew up watching that I definitely want to eventually get in the ring with.
Now, I think you had time in the ring with Alex Shelley, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had to have been a goal.
Yeah, 100%. We wrestled. It was Chicago. I think it was the War Games show. So definitely was like a goal of mine. Definitely was a dream match of mine. So I was very, very happy to get that one.
All I hear about him is just humble and nothing but positivity. And I love hearing stories like that out of people. So
he is the man.
Man, do you have any? You said you do kind of have the next step planned out here, and then you have Japan coming up, and then you're coming back to the States. So, man, you got 2 different continents here. I'm just trying to do the math. You got a busy schedule coming up. How many matches over in Japan? Do you know yet? Oh, wait, that's kind of a weird one too.
Nah, I mean, it's like they actually dropped the match list. It's like 13 nights, including 14 nights, including the semifinals night. But yeah, they actually dropped the schedule and all the matches on their website. So it's like my first show is like Clark Connors. One time in there, I'm wrestling Kevin Knight. Me and Despy are going to main event one of the shows. Me and TJP are going to headline I think I'm in A block show. So yeah, they actually dropped the schedule on their website.
Okay. So yeah, I was just wondering, because I'm like, well, you've got so much coming up. All right. I kind of know the answer to this one. You mentioned Eddie Guerrero is the one person you'd love to sit down and talk to. What's that conversation look like? I just basically want to know what you're picking his head over. I know that it's going to be questions on ring psychology for sure.
I'm picking it on everything, I think one of my favorite matches of all time, period, out of any of them, is Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle, 2 out of 3 falls on SmackDown. And it's a great match all the way through, but it's my favorite because of the beginning. In the beginning, Eddie's trying to wrestle Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle cheats, gets ahead of Eddie. Eddie warns him. He says, if you want to play that game, we can play that game. This is your warning. They do it again. Eddie or Kurt Angle cheats again. Eddie's like, okay, we can play that. And then as soon as it happens, Eddie starts cheating, and it just made the match for me right there in the beginning. So that's overall like my favorite. So I would pick his brain about anything, everything, whatever he wants to talk about. I'm listening.
Wow. Yeah, he's been all over the freaking place. He's been through all the companies through the 80s, 90s, 2000. Well, I think the 80s. I remember seeing him in the early 90s, like 91. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to get to some questions that Brant had, our co-host. I know he had quite a few. He wanted to talk to you. Like I said, he's a big fan also. So here we roll. What happened with the no heart gimmick during the Moxley feud?
You know, man, it was such a weird phase that I was going into. I was trying to figure out, because me and Will had just had that match, and he cuts that promo, and he's like, kill the man that you're supposed to be. So I think I rushed the process just a little too fast, and I mapped out something that I wasn't entirely sure about what it was just yet. And then I actually had filmed a video to where I was going back to the all heart gimmick. I just didn't get it back in time to put it out there to make sense. But I think it was such a small phase that not a lot of people really paid attention to it anyways. But yeah, it was supposed to be like a version of myself that, like, I think honestly kind of what I am now, like the whole story was Will's like, these fans, and eventually they're not going to care about you. And that's exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? So I think it really just, this is what it should have been, this version of myself right now. But yeah, I think I just rushed something that I wasn't even entirely sure about. And then luckily I was able to bounce back real fast and get where I'm at. Yeah.
Well, it's very honest to say, okay, I've learned from it. There were some things in it that, it was like, okay, so I initially saw the leather jacket and everything. I thought your initial character was to get inside of John Moxley's head. You know, whatever John's strengths are, I'm also those strengths. You know, a lot of great sports people will attack their opponent's strengths. That's one of the things. So I initially thought, okay, this is a head game. He's coming out in the leather jacket. He has that attitude. So that was one of those ones that's kind of interesting. He has that one. Okay, so talk about the NXT run and how different it is than the current ROH run. That's a thick one.
Yeah. So when I was in NXT, there was a lot of things like going on in my time there. You know, pandemic, we weren't having live shows. We were transforming into 2.0. So there was a lot of like outer stuff going on. And then I was actually, before anything about my debut had popped up, I was thrown this little idea to be this character. And I was about it, I had stuff drawn up for it, this, that, yada, yada. But then Triple H was like, no, he's going to be what he is right now, a wrestler. So, that's awesome. So that's where they actually told me like 2 weeks later, I was wrestling Kushida in the open challenge for my debut. So I was like, I'm stoked for that. And it's actually, there's a funny story, is me and Carmelo Hayes re-wrestled each other. And it's like, when I first got there, my third week, I think we did like a show. We called them PC Live shows, and we only wrestled in front of the coaches. And they put me and Carmelo in there, and Shawn Michaels was in there. And Shawn Michaels is a busy man. He's always like, he's looking down at his phone. He's coaching is this much of his job.
Yeah.
So we done something in there. I shot Carmelo across the ring. I ran across. I gave him a big chop, and it sounded like a shotgun had went off. And that was a moment where everyone looks up and like, okay, now we're watching. And then me and Carmelo do what me and Carmelo do. We wrestled each other, had a great match. And yeah, man, I think that was like the start of it for me, because that was like my third week there. So I think that was the start of it for me. Like, okay, this guy wrestles Kushida. And then I did the NXT breakout tournament. And then that's when things started to kind of like transform. Hunter got sick. So he was away, and we're going into 2.0. So like, where does the character fit in there? And, I just You know, and that's just where things kind of happen the way they happen. As far as Ring of Honor now, I think, you know, I have a lot more freedom to do what I want to do, you know, as to whereas in NXT, I'm told, you know, like, this is what we want. Give us this. And I'm like, okay. You know, and as in Ring of Honor, they're like, go out there, do your thing. So, you know, I think that's kind of what it is, you know. But yeah, I really, they're two different things, you know.
Yeah.
I can't say a bad thing about either because I love my time in WWE. I love what I'm doing now. So yeah, there's no way to compare those two to, like, it's apples to oranges type deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I really hope that when wrestlers get to the point where they're able to be at the performance center, they get a taste of the ambition that they have. And even when they walk away from the performance center, I hope that they hold that ambition.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, I've heard too many times where, you know, they do 100 reps at the performance center. Well, it's been 2 years since they were there. And now they're only doing 50. They just don't have it in them. Well, the problem is their character suffers, and then it's a lesser chance of them getting called back again. So
I think it's about the fire. Like, the when you go there, the fire's lit. You're like, okay, I'm about to put in this work, this, that, yada yada. I'm gonna soak up all this knowledge, and then once you're released, yeah, it's like, you know, it's a downing moment. But I was booked
yeah.
my 30th day. The second I became a free agent, I was on a show. You know, it lights a fire. So like, I think it's just about whose fire it lit. Like, how big is your fire? How much is that gonna burn? You know. So I think that's all it is. I think the ambition comes from the person. You know, like,
Truth.
you know, if you want it, you want it. I tell the guys that I train with up at Memphis Championship Wrestling, if you want it, I'm gonna see it. Everyone's gonna see it. If you want it, you want it. You'll work for it. You'll get it. You'll go.
And that's how leaders are made. Fantastic. How long did it take for either creative or you to come up with the Trey Baxter name? I know it's always a process. You know, do
Yeah,
you want to be
this
Gumpy
is, nah,
Shigursky?
this is like a funny story. Like, I'm pretty sure Trey Baxter was like two different names. Baxter was something else, and Trey was something else. And they were like, okay, these two work. Let's put them together.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I sent in like a list of like 200 names, and they picked like two of like different things. Yeah, so I mean, it's not a project, but like, to be honest with you, the hardest thing I've ever done in wrestling is sit down and think about, okay, what do I want to be called from here on out?
Yeah.
A list of 5 is really hard to get. Imagine doing 100 of those.
Dude, I remember spending months on an entrance song.
Yeah.
Like, is this one it? Is this one it? You know, does it thump right with the way I walk? Does it this? Does it, you know? Yeah. So I totally get that 100%. Until you're in it, do you really appreciate the process? And you don't understand until you're really in the process how important those decisions really can change your trajectory down the road. Was there any talk of teaming with Zayn in NXT at any time?
No, man. Like, Jim Smallman, he's there. He told me, he's like, I just want you guys to like wrestle like one time, like, even if it's on 205 Live. We actually wrestled like maybe 2 times on those little PC Live shows. We did like a tag match, and then we did a triple threat. So, you know, it's like, yeah and no, you know, like, there was never like official talks, but there was like people like, oh, we want to do this, you know, like, I wish we could do this type stuff, you know, but there was never like official like story talks of anything like wrestling each other or tagging with each other, you know.
Now at the NXT level, because of course you were talking about Triple H and whatnot, do you feel they had their ear on the ground properly for the independent wrestling scene at the time? Or did you feel that they were mostly going on what's being heard in other I know Triple H doesn't watch. I know he said that there are people that watch these things. And did you feel like there was a disconnect between the independent scene and NXT having an understanding of who you all are?
Man. Triple H has his ear to the ground, man. He knows, he sees he sees everything. You know what I'm saying? There is no, you know, like, yeah, he says like, oh, I don't watch, other people watch for me. He sees everything. And
Yeah.
Triple H really, really appreciates a lot of independent and I think honestly it shows, like with what Bloodsport just happened, you know, that that wasn't heard of, to where a WWE superstar main roster like Shayna Baszler would come down and wrestle an independent show.
Mm,
So I think it really shows like his appreciation for wrestling as a whole.
incredible. And what a story he's had. Jeez Louise. Who would have known that Terra Ryzen was going to go so far?
No.
Let's see what else he had here. He was asking about, he wanted you to talk about the promos when you were coming back to GCW.
Yeah, so I think I did like what, one was it one of those where I like stomped out the Trey Baxter thing. I think that was just like, in my head, Trey Baxter struggled in NXT. How does a TV character make it on the independents? You know, like, and Blake Christian has done that. So
Mm,
I think that was just the process of, okay, you know, Trey Baxter, for let's use an example, like in a movie, like Trey Baxter was wounded, you know, by the bad guy, or beat up by the good guy, or whatever. And now he's like hanging on lifelessly, you know, the eyes blinking in and out. He's about to fade out. Here I come walking. I give my little speech, and then, you know, I took the dog, or I took the horse out behind the barn, and I put him down. You know,
yeah.
it was that type of idea. You know, like, you had your time, you did good, but now I have to take back over type deal.
It's just like you were saying with the title, your reemergence has to be strong.
Yeah.
Or you've negated a lot of your last work.
Yeah.
Interestingly. Bran also wanted to know if you could talk about the upcoming Japan trip of BOSJ.
You know, man, this is like a long time. And even on their little website, like they put out like a little article about myself, and they're like, this has like been a long time coming, you know, for like, because
Yeah.
I was around for strong early days, you know, back when there were no fans, and the people were like, when I debuted, people were like, oh, I want this to happen. And then I
Wow.
actually ended up doing the Super J Cup, and they're like, okay. And then I was on there with like Kevin Kelly, and I talked about how I've always wanted to do BOSJ, because that's always been like a goal of mine, even before I stepped into a ring. Like, when I knew I wanted to be a wrestler, I knew I wanted to do that, because that's a tournament for me and my style and people like me. That is the place, you know?
Mm.
So like, yeah, man, it's there. It felt like it was coming, and then it didn't happen, and then it felt like it was coming again, and then it didn't happen. So I think this is like a long time coming, and I actually did an interview for them that'll come out pretty soon. And I said on there, I'm like, this plays a lot into who I am now,
Mm.
and the character that I'm bringing to the tournament, because, you know, like, all the outside stuff of frustrations is what made me become the bad guy. And then a lot of that frustration came from, you're in it, you're not in it, you're in it, you're not in it, you're in it, you're not in it, here it is,
Mhm.
here it's not, type deal. So it's really a full circle moment. Sorry. Sorry.
I'll hold it against you later.
Yeah, throat got dry.
Well, I have you talking a lot. That's kind of good. So you're gonna go over there. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm damn near double your age. I'm gonna have to tell you, take lots of video and pictures. You worked very hard to get there. You know, and enjoy it as much as possible.
Sorry.
Please enjoy it as much as possible, because you earned it. You know, and hopefully this won't be your first trip. It will be many more in the next coming years. That's for damn sure. Let's see what else Brant has for you. He has 3 more questions on here. Your favorite venue. What is your favorite venue that you've worked in? That's a
Man,
big one too.
I don't know. I can't give you a fave, because like, I've worked in so many. You know, I've worked in
Well, Kurikan, I know that's one that you probably have on there.
100%. Center Stage is a legendary one.
Right. Hammerstein.
You know, when we were doing the AEW tapings, we were doing it in the old TNA building. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, we did it at the Universal place. So that's where TNA used to do their thing. So there's that. And then arenas like that I've went to, like the one where HBK lost his smile. So like I
Yeah.
did that one for Ring of Honor, and so like there's just too many to be like this is my fave. Hammerstein. You know.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned center stage too, because you have to have a little bit of a history on your head to understand the importance of center stage, WCW. Any pre-match or post-match rituals?
I'm a very religious type of guy. I'm not like to where I go to church every Sunday, but before I walk out, no matter what match it is, doesn't matter if I'm doing something small, little, yada yada, I always protect me, protect them. Let me do this. Let me
Yes.
do what you put me on this earth to do because I'm doing this for you. And then I go out the curtain.
With full faith and let it fly, huh?
That's all it is.
That's fantastic. What was the original promo you were going to cut after that match with Tony in AC?
I think it was more. It was more like, like that's right when the news dropped that I signed with AEW. So it was more like, am I gonna leave? Am I not gonna leave? Am I gonna give a goodbye speech? Am I not gonna give a goodbye speech? And then they turned it around on me. So I was like, I'm not leaving GCW until someone kicks me out, And then that's what it just turned into. But yeah, it was supposed to be like, is he leaving? Is he not leaving? Type deal.
All right. So you got through most of now we're on to more fun questions. So, like I said, I know your time situation. So we're going to have some fun now. It's 2014, Blake. It's high school again. I'm coming over to watch wrestling for the night. What are we watching?
Mm.
You might have some video. We might be streaming something.
I don't really watch like a pay-per-view like in its entirety. Like that's my favorite pay-per-view. I watch matches. I like matches, and I think top one obviously Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero. 2 out of 3 falls, SmackDown. I think it was like 2004, I believe 2004. If not that one, we're watching HBK's comeback match from SummerSlam, which was crazy, or the actual HBK match his first comeback match, which was on a little Texas indie before
his company.
Yeah. So, or that one.
I don't think I've seen that one in its entirety. I'm sure it's out there on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing.
Bro, it's probably like like this entire professional in like this kind of low-rent building kind of thing.
It's a big ass building that they were in. The crowd was wild. HBK did some wild things and didn't take a bump at all. And
Texas crowd, right?
Yeah. You would watch the whole match, and you won't even realize that HBK didn't even take one bump.
One of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a wrestler not too long ago be like, I don't know if you noticed, but I pretty much just threw clotheslines. I'm like, whoa. Oh yeah, there's I didn't want to give that one away. So let's see here. We got that down. What video games you got? You console, you PC?
Yeah, I'm both actually. I have like a PS5, Xbox One. I have a gaming computer. I actually have a thing that I travel with. It's called an Asus Ally.
Yeah,
it's like a little mini computer. It's actually had so many problems. I just got it back today after sending it out because it wasn't charging. But yeah, I'm a big gamer. I love like Fallout type games, Skyrim, Dark Souls, Elden Ring. I'm a big gamer guy, so I play pretty much anything.
Yeah, I've given my soul to a couple of those games. Given quite a few days to a couple, months to a couple of those. I actually made sure to not play World of Warcraft back in the day because I know I would have been hooked and I know money would have been involved. I'm like, stay the fuck away.
There's some of them that'll drain you.
Oh yeah. Elden Ring here. I still play Civilization all the time. I like some of those games. Right now it's mostly PS5. I'm still playing Call of Duty like crazy. My son likes to play a little football. I don't do too many sports, but football I'll touch on every now and then. I don't know, man. I was kind of, so what would we be playing then? Would we be playing like, damn.
Yeah, man, I got so many. Like,
Yeah, you're all over the place.
I'm a big Souls type game guy. I love those games. Um,
God, I get the shit kicked out of me in those games every
yeah, man,
time.
that's what they're made for. I recently
Yeah.
just started with one of my buddies. It's called Wolong, I think.
Never
Wolong
heard.
Fallen Dynasty. It's very similar to Souls. It's hard as hell. Uh, it's made me rage plenty of times. So
Yeah.
that's a new game that's out. It's kind of, I think it's free actually. It's called Hell Let Loose. It's like an old World War II like massive multiplayer game.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I've been playing that. That's pretty good. You know, I'm playing anything. If we're playing sports, it's the MLB or UFC. But if we're playing like any other category, I got games for everyone.
Man, yeah, I was looking at the Steam Deck for the longest time because I thought that'd be a pretty
They're
cool.
better. They're better than the Asus because they don't break as much.
Well, thankfully, someone spent the money to tell me that problem ahead of time. But yeah, I was looking between that one and the other, so it's good you kind of said something beforehand.
Yep.
Huh.
It's too much money not to fix.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's been a headache.
All right, so let's have fun again. It's 2014. What music are we listening to?
Dude, my music taste is like all over the place. I'm a big I like classic rock, I like current rock, I like 2000s rock, I like classic rap, I like new rap, you know, R&B. There's instrumentals that I like. You know, my music taste is up, down, left, right, yada yada. So I can't tell you what we'd be listening to.
Whatever makes you move.
Man.
Whatever gets the adrenaline going, I think is a good way for you to put your taste.
They all do, man. Like some days I'm feeling like a Quiet Riot type of mood. Some days I'm feeling like a NBA YoungBoy type of mood. You know, I mean, it's all over the place. It's
Wow.
When I tell you my playlist is insane, my playlist is insane.
Okay, that's a great thing to kind of work on to just a little bit here. Your theme song, you obviously put a ton of work into it. What do you want the fans to extract from your theme song?
I don't know, man. My theme song is like just open up like a page in a book is the start of it. It's got a good opening, you know, it has a good like little ring to it. It's got a good walkout point to it. I don't know.
Nobody ever thinks about that. Fans never think about the walkout and all that shit and how you got to enter the ring at a certain time.
Yeah, it's got to have a point. It's got to have a flow to it. Can I, like my adjustment from being a babyface to a heel, can I get that same type of Iggy with it, you know, like, so I don't know. I don't know what they're taking away. I thought like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. It's got a good point here. I wasn't even thinking about like the lyrics for it.
Yeah, I always wondered if maybe there was something in there that mentioned a dimension of you, maybe, or if it was just no, this fucking song hits and I can hit all my marks on the way out.
Yep.
No, that's great. And I always liked an entrance theme that has that little 3, 5, 10-second intro and then the song hits, because like that anticipation.
Yeah.
All right, we're on the road. Favorite fast food? What are you able to hit? What you looking for?
I love Whataburger, man. I love it.
No kidding. I've heard some love and some hate on both sides from Whataburger, huh?
I think the biggest debate is In-N-Out or Whataburger. In-N-Out has 3 things on its menu. Whataburger has a full menu. So there you go. But I love Whataburger. They put them in Nashville. They put them in Memphis. They're in Alabama. I mean, they're everywhere. So if it's on Uber Eats, I'm getting it. If it's before a show, probably not. Probably getting Chipotle. After a show, killing it.
Nice. All right, we're going back to childhood. Favorite cereal when you were a kid?
Still to this day, the Halloween cereal, the little Monsterverse cereals, like
yes,
Count Chocula, Blueberry, Frankenberry.
I get the triple pack.
It's my all-time favorite. It's to this day. I get some of my like relatives get me like the triple pack, or now they have a 4-pack for Christmas. So.
What is it, like the green one or something?
Yeah,
like
it's like a monster. It's like a mix. It's like a mixed berry. It's like everything.
Dang. Of all the shit we ended up talking about. Do you have any pets? I believe you said you do.
I do. I have a blackmouth cur. She's like a medium-sized dog. Her name is Ella. She's wild as all get out. She's a very sweet dog. You'll never meet a sweeter dog than her, I promise you. She's lovable to anybody that meets her. but damn, does she love to chase a squirrel, and damn, does she not come back until she's tired. Definitely giving me many of heart attacks over my years of having it. So.
Dude, I got 2 golden retrievers, and you know they're water dogs, right? My one water dog, she got a two pigeon kill count right now.
Yeah.
Like we just let her out and boom.
You can't let her out on a fence because she can jump an 8-foot fence easily.
What?
Yeah, it's insane. I've seen it happen with my own eyes.
You said a cur? A black cur?
Yeah. Black mouth cur. She looks like an Australian dingo. The wild animal in She looks like one of those, but with the ears not as pointy. But everything else exactly like her.
How old?
She's 7 now. She's 7. She still has not calmed down. She can chew her way out of a harness, so you can't put her on a harness. I had to get a special cage that she couldn't escape from.
The intelligent dog cage.
Since a baby, man. I watched her when I got her for the first time. She was a very tiny dog. She pulled her dog toy basket close enough to because we had one. I think they have them now, like they're grates or whatever. They like you can put them together, arrange them however you want. They're like little playpens for dogs.
Yeah.
And she would pull her dog toy basket to the very edge, jump on top of that, and then throw herself over the top of that and escape.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's been a little escape artist since the day she was born.
Oh my goodness. So then are you letting family or a friend kind of take care of it and deal with it while you're out? Because I know you're out for a couple days.
Yeah. No, she's really easy with my parents and stuff like that. Like she has this little collar. If she pulls too hard, she can jerk off of regularly. So if she pulls too hard, it just gives her a little pinch. She's like, okay, I won't pull anymore. It's not a shot collar, so please don't get on me.
No.
Not one of those. It's just something that if she pulls too hard, it just kind of tightens up a little tight, and then she lets go.
Well, you know what though? The alternative is they don't listen and run out in the middle of the street.
That's true, and she puts. And I promise you, if it hurt her, she wouldn't be like this, ready to put it on. So, it's fine.
We're gonna go back to not your childhood, but we're gonna go back to high school. Did you have a car in high school?
I did. I had a Toyota Tacoma. It's like a 2004.
Now, where you were living, are you more in like the hills or flatland? I'm trying to figure out how good that truck did you.
Flatlands, it's like, it was like to get me to school, not to school. I once chased a deer through a cornfield one time, type deal. Just an impulsive decision. I saw a deer and my friends were in the car, so there we went, type thing. So it made it through that.
Oh, look, a deer.
Yeah.
We've accidentally set a cornfield on fire one time. That was bad.
We didn't go that far, but
we didn't mean to. You know how that goes.
Got too far, we turned it around and got out of there.
Yeah, man. There used to always be we found off of roads here and there, like party spots where the ditch isn't on the side of the road, so we could just drive off the road and go in. And we used to have fires all the time. And one time it was just after harvest season, and the whole field went up, and that wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty. There was like 30 people there. Only 1 or 2 got in trouble for it. And of course, his dad owned the property. So, I don't even want to know how much he lost in money, but I'm like, damn. Yeah, it's funny. It's funnier kind of now, but at the time it was pretty damn serious. Some people like to name their cars. Like I had a fucking ugly ass Mercury that was red. I called it the Maroon Marauder. Did you ever name your car?
I didn't really give it a name. Tacoma has taco in it, so we would just say the taco. My girlfriend actually named her car. It's called Lorenzo. That's as far as it goes for me, though. Yeah, I never went like, this is my car and this is my best friend type deal. No.
For us,
Lorenzo, and she refers to him as him. And
no.
I don't do that.
Yeah, for us, it was just our cars were all pieces of shit. So it was like we might as well give it amazing names, So
my Tacoma was definitely one of those.
So one of my friends had a Mercury Sable from like way back in the day, and they called it Ready, Willing, and Sable. I'm like, all right, but let's get the hell out of that for a minute. I noticed you've got that tattoo. Sure.
Fun fact, my Tacoma, I don't have it. It's my grandmother's now. It actually still runs to this day, and I got it when I was 16 years old.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I had it with 130,000 miles on it, and I ran it all the way until I got a new car, which is when I went to WWE.
No kidding. So you don't have it anymore, though?
No, it's at my grandmother's. She drives it. It's her everyday little car.
Wow.
So she does what she does with it. It still runs though.
Take care of it, bro. You know how that is. Play the long game. That is
Not
awesome.
mine, no. Not mine no more. Not my
Play the
fault.
long game. It may be. No. Yeah, I was going to mention my wife's big on turtles. We saw the tattoo you have there. How many tattoos do you have?
I just have 3. I have the one under my tricep, and I have the one on my wrist, which not a lot of people see, because I do the wrist tape on it.
Yeah, you're taped.
Yeah, and then I have the Polynesian turtle on my right arm. Yeah, so I just have 3. I definitely look into getting more. It's just a matter of having the time to do so.
The arm's a big one, man. I'm guessing you probably have a little bit of a meaning to it, personal meaning or whatnot. I'm not getting into it if you don't.
No, you're good. You're good. I looked up a lot of the meanings of it. It's like the turtle stands for family in itself. It has a lot of extra stuff in there. There's like shark tooths in there. There's other little symbols that I don't understand what they mean. I have to like look it up to be able to tell you, because there's like so many just little things in there. But overall, the turtle stands for family, and the flower stands for love. So it's like family surrounded by love. So that's the basic main meaning for me. But there is a lot of extra tribal things in there.
Fantastic. Top 5 horror movies. Are you a horror movie person?
Dude, I'm a big horror fan.
Oh, let's talk.
I love horror movies. I love movies in general, but like horror movies have always like had my interest more than anything else. I used to work in a haunted house too, so if that tells you anything.
Oh, sweet.
I love scary shit. Top 5.
That's a rough one. I know. I like the classics.
I do like the classics. Definitely what's not in my top 5 is the recent Halloween. Definitely not in my top 5. I got where they were going. I see what they were doing. And yes, it was a good movie, but as a fan,
not satisfying. Yeah.
You know, like I wanted to see Michael Myers, not a guy dressed up as Michael Myers, and then see Michael Myers for 3 minutes in the end. That's what I wanted, but I didn't get that. But top 5. Definitely original Halloween.
Yes.
Definitely an original Halloween. I'm not going to put these in any specific order.
No, you're sweating, man. Like just to go down to 5 is hard enough. So if you can even come off with 5 without crying, we're good.
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street. Really any of those. I love Freddy Krueger. So definitely any of those. There are some that make me go meh, but
number 2 was kind of weak from the like violence perspective.
Yeah.
3 really stepped it up. I think 3's the one where they did with the veins. Like dude, that was killer. Yeah.
Friday the 13th, but Friday the 13th Part 3. When I started watching horror movies, the killer was shown in the beginning, and that's what I like. Obviously, in the first 2, you never see the killer until the very end. So I like that I got to see Jason early on as opposed to at the very end, you know. So part 3 for that, and then so on. Maybe not the one where the girl had superpowers or whatever.
Like 6 or 5 or something. Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, part 5.
Yeah, but I think 4 was Jarvis, and then 5 was where. Yeah, that's where now I gotta go back and watch these sometime. Like it's cool to watch with adult eyes. Trust me, 10 years from now, those movies will be even more interesting to you.
100%.
Yeah, just the nostalgia factor.
Not a movie, but recent. There is the Chucky show. I've really gotten into that. So I'm not gonna say that is my movie, but definitely gonna put that up there. I want to go with a new one. I'm gonna say one that probably not a lot of people say. I think it was Halloween Kills, the second one. The second of the new trilogy. The new trilogy.
What, 6 years ago or so? 4 years ago? No.
2022, I think.
Holy, oh God, I thought you were gonna say 2022 years ago. I'm like, I haven't seen that then. Okay.
2022. It was the second one of this new trilogy they made. I think the first one was 2018. The next one was like 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
So definitely that. I like that one. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. Let me give you one more.
While you're thinking, Friday the 13th. That's okay. That's okay. I like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. No, that was very wasn't super scary, but it was culty as hell, and I loved it. In California, where they shot Friday the 13th 3 and I think 4, there was that famous barn where Jason got hung at the end. Mm-hmm. That barn still exists. I don't know how much you know your history on that. That's the same barn that the Marty McFly went through for Back to the Future and stuff. Like that's famous barn. Okay. The original house from I think number 3 stood until it burnt down like 10 years ago. Somebody just arsoned it. They were gonna, so right now they're basically rebuilding the house and the barn, so down the road people can flock in from wherever and go to the place and be like, here's where Jarvis was, here's where Jason was hung, here's where. But yeah, I guess that barn alone is famous and has been in like 10 plus movies. It's kind of cool. So we're gonna leave number 5 out. It's open because let's be honest, there's so many.
I'm a big horror fan. I've always loved horror movies. I've always been into the scary stuff. I worked in a haunted house. I really love doing that. So I'm gonna leave that one open. I love horror movies in general. So
yeah, man. I love the cheese.
I thought was kind of like crazy was Abigail. I saw that one.
Abigail.
It just came out.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
It's a vampire one. It's about a ballet vampire girl. Yeah, it gets a little wild, but I thought, I've seen some bad horror movies, and that one wasn't one of them. I didn't think it definitely wasn't one of my faves, but it stood above some of the other ones. Another one I'm excited for. I think it comes out tomorrow. It's called Tarot.
TAROT on Netflix, right?
No, it's in theaters. Yeah,
theaters.
It'll be in theaters. It's yeah, I'm excited for that one. That one looks pretty good. So maybe that'll be my 5 if it's good.
You're putting on a speculation. That's pretty good. That's ballsy.
I mean, the trailer looks amazing. So, but I mean, I can be fooled, I guess.
So we're kind of in this little realm here. I love asking everybody this. Do you have any ghost stories or anything that was crazy that happened to you when you were younger, or to any of your friends that you'd like to kind of talk about? This has always been a fun subject because I found out a lot of your coworkers, so to speak, have lived or been around some crazy places.
Weird shit happens all the time, and you'll know that with like wrestlers, especially. As far as I go,
you're artists. I think that probably comes with it as you're open-minded. So what comes with it is the entire world pours into your head.
I don't know if anything's like ever happened to me, but I think a story that I'll tell was from my mom. I've always been afraid of an Ouija board, and it's because of my mom. She has a story where she watched one of her friends play it, and she had told nobody that she was pregnant but my mom, and the thing had pointed out that she was pregnant. And then somebody else, it like literally, she tells me, and I believe my mom, I don't think my mom's a liar, flipped her upside down in a chair. So I'm not going to say like it floated her up. I'm saying like it flipped the chair out from under her and she fell on the floor and the chair went flying type deal. So there's that. Didn't happen to me, but I won't touch an Ouija board to this day because of that.
What's the harm in, staying away from it? So.
Right.
Yeah, my dad had a story. He just told me, he said, son, just don't mess with it. He said, I did it one time. It told me a bunch of info. I looked it up. It was all bullshit. So he said, it's all just lying. You know what I mean? I grew up in I'm secondary Bible Belt in my area. So he was kind of giving me the story. Hey, you know what I mean? He was like, I've done it before. No need for you to do it. I've been down that path. It's, Never touched it myself. It was just one of, I don't know. I guess if you have enough bad stuff, you really are sick of bad stuff and you don't want to go find more, you know?
I think it comes from like people's curiosity, you know. Curiosity kills the cat, and I don't want to be the cat that got killed because of curiosity. So
Yeah, learn from someone else's mistakes.
exactly.
Let them put their ass out there and you can learn from it.
Maybe I'll watch from afar.
Yeah. So do you have any documentaries that you like to watch? Because I mean, if you're liking scary stuff, there's a chance there may be a couple documentaries.
I'm a big like true crime documentary guy. I watched one recently about the Gone Girl case they had.
Mm-hmm.
I think they called it American Nightmare, where that guy had like broke into people's houses, kidnapped them. You know, I won't go into detail on what they did, but like it really comes down to like a story about not believing victims. And I couldn't imagine like how hard that is for to go through that, to be kidnapped out of your home, secluded for days, somewhere you don't know, only have a blindfold over your face.
Oh,
You know, and then when you get back, police tell you you're a liar.
yeah, that's screwed up.
So I can't imagine like what that's what it really boils down to. That's the story of it. But yeah, man, I think it's called American Nightmare. Like watching that is like insane to think about. And then I watched, man, I've watched so many true crime documentaries. I just get like kind of like sucked into them. I feel like that was my most recent one, so I'm gonna keep it with that one.
So we'll match the scary now with the kind of scary house documentary thing. When you come to Las Vegas, look up Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum.
I used to watch Adventures all the time.
Sweet. Okay, you gotta go there sometime, or go with someone that actually has a Nevada discount, and it'll get you like $10 off. The tickets are pretty expensive, but I didn't believe. I used to laugh when people go, "Oh, my stomach hurt. I feel nausea." You know, I'm going, "Oh yeah, that's bullshit. Anybody can say that." But then I went in with a group of I think 10 to 12, and we went into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think it's Ed Gein is the gentleman. We went into there, and basically this place is a museum. He bought a lot of Ed Gein stuff. Well, in the center of the room was the pot that he cooked people in. And I went in there and I looked at this thing and I started breaking out into a sweat, and I'm starting to not feel good. And I had to kind of brace myself up against the wall because I thought I was going to pass out. No big deal. Got out of the room 2 minutes later, perfectly fine. I go, okay, well, maybe I just wasn't feeling well, maybe, you know, but I went on a second tour and I started walking in the room. I started feeling shitty again. So I just said, "Hey, can I stand out here for this one?" And the lady said, "We have so many people get sick in the Ed Gein room and we don't know why." And I told the lady, I said, "I don't believe that some of these illnesses people have, so to speak." I'd watch Ghost Adventures. Well, it's easy to just say you have a sick stomach, man. That's great for TV. But yeah, I got it one time and I'm like, okay, this is a big deal. The second time I went in, there was a lady who got scratched on her back. And I mean, we were all kind of watching each other. We know if there's going to be someone who wants attention. You're in the public eye. People want attention sometimes. And then I talked to the guide afterward, and she says generally like 3 or 4 of the people in their group of 10 to 12 come out with an issue.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, whoa. And like they tell people, if you're religious, say prayers once you do leave here, just so nothing does want to follow you home. And there are stories of people getting sick after they leave, or getting, you know, and again, it could just be getting attention, but this place has something interesting. They have one whole haunted doll room. It's just cool as hell.
I love doing like stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely going to check that one out.
Yeah, it's like if you're into just old stuff, it's a lot of old haunted stuff. So the satanic stuff, like there's a room that's just devoted to all that craziness. I'm like, all right, I seen it. Out we go, because that's someone else's religion. Yeah, it's someone else's religion. That's cool. But yeah, that's one of those ones that I would tell you, get sushi out here for unlimited, and then yeah, go see that for sure. Okay, so Netflix binging, we kind of covered that. Is there anything you're watching on YouTube right now?
Dude, I watch wrestling stuff. I watch what's his name? Coyote Peterson. I watch him get bit by bugs all the time. So I watch those.
Dude, I watch guys fucking do lawns and detail cars, and I'm boring as shit sometimes. Like I watch a guy just basically go camping for 40 minutes and just listen to the rain.
He like did like the painful like sting in that. He's like literally like,
dude, he's nuts.
Yeah, he's insane. So yeah, I watched all of those, and he still does them to this day. You know, I've been sworn by like a wasp when I was a child. So like I know sticking your hand into a box of fucking Yellow Jackets, 100 of them, and just letting them sting you, like I know that shit hurts because I've been sworn by my legs, like by paper wasps. So I can only imagine Yellow Jackets. So yeah, I watched that. I watched some like video game stuff. I like to watch people rage about them. It makes me laugh. So I'm a big watching those things. If I'm watching Netflix,
I just figured on the road you're probably watching a lot of stuff.
Yeah, man. I recently I've my guilty pleasure here is I love Vampire Diaries. I don't know why, but I do. It started.
Isn't that the one from like the WB back in the early 2000s or 2010s, right?
I think it was on CW. I think.
Yeah. It's like a hot brown-headed chick or something.
It's funny because I watched it and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna get into this anymore. And then I watched the originals, and then the originals is played off after that as like a fall off season. So I was like, okay, I'll go watch this. And yeah, man, I've rewatched it 1,000 times. So I watched those. I watched Chucky. I watched that. I binged the Fallout series in probably less than 24 hours.
I heard great things.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
I haven't seen the Doom one. Or I mean, not Doom, Halo. I haven't
watched that one either. Some people, it's like mixed about it. You know, maybe I'll check it out. But my car drives itself, so I can like throw it off to the side while.
You're fancy.
I can turn it on and I can let it play and I can binge all these things, you know. And if I miss something when I'm done driving, I can stop and go back and see what I missed. But yeah, I watch a bunch of stuff like when I'm traveling and all this and that. Netflix, man, it doesn't really have a bunch of shows. Like I think I watched like the Sabrina thing. I watched the new what was it? Addams Family. What is the Addams Family?
Yeah, you know what? With the what's her name? I know who you're talking about. Yeah, she does a damn good job. It's nice to see
that.
It's nice to see a rehash or whatnot where the characters actually.
It's really all it is, man. It's like a lot of the new stuff is just like remakes of old things. So I watched that, but yeah, as far as like Netflix has kind of fell off on their series lately, so I haven't really watched a bunch of stuff on Netflix.
Man, I can't even tell you. I've been actually on YouTube. Mostly everything for me is on YouTube. I'm in that time where I just put the word reaction at the end of everything. So I'm like taking my favorite songs and just putting reaction in there. And then of course, here comes wrestling. So I'm looking at wrestling stuff, then wrestling reactions. And yeah, that's been my excitement. I'm kind of boring in that sense, I guess. I've been on podcasts.
I don't know, man. It's like
a lot of wrestling podcasts.
I listen to some podcasts when I'm like driving or whatever, but I watch it at like the 2x speed so it goes by fast.
Yeah.
And then, but like,
and thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Really, for long drives, it's like I listen to I let it play in the background of like shows and stuff like that, or a movie that I want to watch. If a movie's coming out, I know this little website where I can cheat it and watch it before, so I'll do that. Or if I'm feeling like an old school movie and I know where it's at, I'll get it and I'll watch that. But yeah, that's really about it. My YouTube is like video games and wrestling and music and Coyote Peterson getting stung by a stinging plant.
Man, oh man. Okay, so how have we done so far? We're doing good. On Oh yeah, there's something just me and you talking for a second. I don't really hear much accent in you. Did you have to work to get any accent off of you? Because I know that
I don't know,
accent,
man.
man.
Everybody I've met always tells me like I don't have like that deep Southern
Oh
accent.
no, it's so like I've been in the area, so I kind of get what so I was wondering it should be thicker is what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I really don't know. I think I feel like maybe like back in the day it was kind of like thicker, but I mean I've traveled all over the place, man.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just like to me my voice has been my voice forever. But like maybe it was thicker back in then, like when I was in high school, you know.
Mm-hmm.
My stepmother's is insane. Her she has a thick country accent and she passed it down to my stepsister, so she has it. My dad has it. So I don't know, man. To me, my voice has been my voice,
Mm-hmm.
but people that I have met has told me like I don't have that
Yeah.
thick Southern, deep Tennessee accent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been through Kentucky, I've been through Tennessee. I've West Virginia, whether I'd like to admit it or not. And you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I heard it. I go, damn, he doesn't have not
Mm-mm.
even 5% of what I kind of expected you to have in your enunciations and whatnot. So
Mm-mm.
well, I think we survived, Blake. You survived the whole thing too. I wasn't trying to like extend
Yeah.
you.
Nah, it just
You're
passed by.
you're fantastic, man. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
bro. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. So what I'll do is just stick with me. What I'll do is I'll wrap this up once we go down. I'll just say goodbye to you and we'll head out for the night. But I got so wrapped up in everything because I just want to tell everybody from all the listeners of Game Changer Weekly, this is my first time doing this alone. I'm always used to having my twin, my co-host with me, which I greatly miss, and we'll see on the next show. But the people who'd come in, Effie came in, real tight spot, Rochelle, Will, Chewy, Quirios, and Milk. I mean, just so many people came in, and I didn't get a chance to get to too much, but I did see all the messages. A lot of love to Blake, and thank you to everyone for coming in tonight. So I don't know how to.
I could see comments.
Oh yeah. That's okay. There wasn't too much going on. Poor Effie was doing the raid, and then I guess he felt it didn't work. But then Rochelle and a couple others who are normal listeners said it did jump in. So this is what happens when you have me in control.
Is Blake really stepdaddy material?
Yeah. Where did you get that shirt, dude?
Amazon.
Yeah.
Look up adult humor t-shirts, and then that one was perfect. It was the first one and it was perfect, so I said I'm getting it.
Dude, if you were a face, that shirt would have sold like wildfire for you.
I believe it. Maybe I'll keep it, but you know, we'll see.
I'll tell you what's worse is going to happen. I mean, people will get the joke. Everybody got the joke without you even trying, or maybe you did try in it.
I mean, I think I debuted that shirt when I shaved my facial hair for the first time.
Yeah.
So I think it worked out.
Yeah, one of our listeners here, Queers and Milk, thought it was your merch and they'd buy one.
Okay.
Maybe
maybe I'll get that going.
Do an on-demand drop ship type thing where, you know, pro wrestling tees kind of. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Was there anything else? I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. This is good. Let's call it a wrap. I'm used to not even being the one to wrap it up, man. I'm the little brother that was left home tonight. So
you're good, bro.
So I just like to tell the listeners, thank you so much for stopping in with us here. This is another beautiful late night with Game Changer Weekly. Thank you so much to Blake Christian for showing up here tonight and giving us a wonderful hour and a half of his time. Do you have anything you'd like to plug, Blake?
Go fuck yourselves.
At Twitter.com.
Twitter.com at X. It's actually X, Elon Musk.
Oh God, I'm not even. Yeah, I have a gray area in my head, and half of it just goes right over. Yeah, thank you so much for showing up. So we're gonna go ahead and end the show here. Thank you so much again, and I don't know how to end the show. So long live GCW.